Did you know that 35 billion plastic bottles are thrown away every year? And the majority of these plastic bottles are made up of something called polyethylene terephthalate, otherwise known as PET. PET accounts for 4 billion pounds of waste generated by consumers just in the US alone every year. This information comes by tech managers Fonseca and Shah in their article in Machine Design in 2011, where they also state that only 20% of PET plastics are recycled each year. If we were to recycle the additional 80%, it would save us about 1 billion gallons of oil every year, as well as 44 million cubic yards of landfills. That is pretty significant. That is huge. PET waste is extremely detrimental to our environment, and we can reverse those adverse effects by doing something so simple as recycling. My goal here today is to educate you on what PET is doing to our environment and what we can do as individuals to reverse those effects. We're going to begin by talking about some of the harmful effects of PET on our environment. As PET breaks down, it releases pollutants. It was actually said by Royer and Farron in their Public Library of Science report in 2018 that 36% of plastics are made up of PET. The material is strong, it's durable, it's easily processed, and most of all, it is very cost effective. So it's easy to see why manufacturers opt for this material. But because it has all of these properties, it is highly resistant to biodegradation. It takes a very long time to break down. According to Orset and Barrett in their Waste Management Journal in 2017, just one bottle made out of PET would stay in our environment for about 500 years, which is a very long time for just one plastic bottle. It is the most common pollutant in terrestrial areas. And it harms the ecosystems in our terrestrial areas, and in turn has an effect on our food chain. And it also, when in terrestrial areas, it seeps into our soil and into our groundwater, which is our drinking source as humans. So we're contaminating our own water source. And it's also the most common pollutant on our surface ocean waters as well. According again to Orset and Barrett in their Waste Management Journal in 2017, 10% of globally produced plastic accumulates in world oceans every year, which is very sad if you think about it. We're harming these ecosystems, we're hurting their food and their water source, and don't forget that we also rely on this wildlife as a part of our food chain to keep us sustained as well. So we're going to talk about some steps that we can take to lessen these detrimental effects. Number one, recycle. It's inevitable. We're all going to purchase material. We're all going to purchase products made with this PET plastic, just simply because that's what manufacturers are using right now for the previously listed reasons. But what we can do when we do purchase these materials is recycle them. That's all, just recycle, and it will make a huge difference. Another thing that we can do is purchase reusable plastics. Get a refillable water bottle. Instead of packing your lunch in a Ziploc bag, pack it in a Tupperware that's reusable. They make these things dishwasher safe and convenient these days. And then instead of letting these big companies bottle and filter your water for you, get a water filter. This costed me $20 and has saved me a significant amount of money switching over to this rather than plastic bottles. I am still guilty of purchasing plastic water bottles on occasion, but when I do, I try to look for these little labels that tell me why this is a good choice. So this one specifically says that it uses 50% plastic than their previous model did, which helps me feel a little bit better, but it is still that PET plastic. So I can recycle that and do my part to hopefully not hurt our environment by recycling that. And then they also are making biodegradable packaging all the time. They make it out of something called polylactic acid, is a very common one, or PLA. and it's made of biopolymers. So we already know how to do this. The problem is the startup cost. It can be expensive. But if we start purchasing these things now and get it jump started, eventually the cost of those biodegradable materials will be equivalent to what we're paying for these PET plastics right now. And again, $20 for this. So it's expensive to start up, use to save our environment, but is it really? Is it really? So we're going to review what we talked about today. We have a major problem. We are polluting our earth significantly by not recycling PET plastics that we consume. You as an individual can make a huge difference by simply recycling those PET plastics that you do consume. That is why I chose this topic, because I want each and every one of you to realize that you as an individual can make a significant difference. It has been said that in the future, our earth will no longer be able to sustain human life because we are polluting it so severely. So how far will you go? What will you do to make a difference? I hope that if you don't already own a recycling bin, you are thinking about going out and purchasing one after watching this video. And I thank you so much for listening.